Hello, Hojoz here. Welcome back to the 5th season of Cedara Fighting Competition. And today, the matchup is the SSI 9 Fighter Mark II C4 and SSI Square Float Mark I by HojozVideos versus the Pegasus D10N and the Pegasus D10N Probe by the amazing Cowpig. And today we only have one matchup. So don't let the time that this episode lasts fool you. Don't let the beginning match, the first match, fool you either. It's going to be a very great match. Although I only managed to fit one in this episode. With that matchup known, let me also make known that this is the third time I'm trying to record this. The previous two attempts being foiled by these two aircraft flying towards each other and not wanting to compete. The Pegasus even going as far as to show up as splashed down when it was in the air. So, apologies if I sound annoyed, that's because I am king annoyed at these craft. Well, couldn't be a better start to the episode, couldn't it? Yeah, I am annoyed. Let's see if the 9 Fighter won't fly towards the King Pegasus, and if the Pegasus will actually show up as in the fucking air this time. Yep, both are in the air, so that's progress. The 9 Fighter is already turning away from the Pegasus D10N, so it's looking good so far. I don't want to jinx it, since again, these aircraft are fucking annoying. And I want to make that known to the world. And I want that to acclaim my frustration in my voice. As it looks like we can start. Don't get your hopes up. You're going to get disappointed. Perhaps. Oh my god, no, we are going to start this competition. We are going to start this competition. Good news, everyone. We are starting and we are turning towards each other. And it is finally working on the third attempt. Because third time's the charm. Yes. Love you guys, mate. A9 fired by the 9 Fighter. And another A9 fired by the 9 Fighter. While the Pegasus D10N struggles to lock on. And it is the Pegasus D10N boat that is trying to defeat the Pegasus, trying to defend the Pegasus, but it hasn't worked quite yet, and the Pegasus has been foiled and destroyed by an A9. And there come that Hellfires, fired by the 9 Fighter, and it has done some damage to the Pegasus D10N boat, which is actually registered here as the Pegasus D10N Probe. Let's see what the damage is. It's to the rear. It has lost its cockpit / command quarters, so who knows how it is able to fire. I don't know either, but it is able to fire, and thus it will live on and it will count as not dead yet. While the 9 Fighter just casually decided that, actually no, I should go in for a guns run. And probably that forced this one into a tie. Because now the 9 Fighter is going to fly into the accurate gunfire of those Pegasus turrets. And if it does that, while not being able to get sufficient shot off to get those turrets disabled, the 9 Fighter will get downed. And that'll be the end of it for the 9 Fighter, and that'll be the first tie. No doubt do I have in my mind that the Pegasus D10N will get the victory next time, if it doesn't get hit by a missile. Because again, can't stress this enough, it's probably the superior aircraft here. As you can see here, the 9 Fighter not quite knowing what to do. It is simply confused at the fact that it lost all its Hellfires, and it is kind of struggling with its roll / yaw abilities too. Yeah, I didn't have quite the time to tweak these aircraft, and that's exactly why most of my entries have fatal problems. Anyway, we are coming within guns range of that Pegasus D10N boat, whereas the Night Fighter does not have its guns prepared yet because of the guns limit I set into the Night Fighter, which is 1500 meters. And it's not even set to engage surface, so that's basically a death sentence here for the Night Fighter. Whereas the Pegasus Pro, it simply has to complete its job. It simply has to complete its AAA job and get this Night Fighter out of the air. Pegasus D10 here, a little bit destroyed. But again, those Mark III cargo bays or fuselages, depends on what is installed here. Of course, they are cargo bays, but on some other entries they are the fuel tanks. They are very sturdy, so yeah. It's not like the Night Fighter is going to do any damage to it. Anyway, I mean, could go down on the fact that the Night Fighter can run out of fuel, whereas the Pegasus, of course, can't. It can run out of ammo though. Night Fighter then coming back and closer to the Pegasus D10. Still struggling with, well, itself, as the Night Fighter is a very shitty attempt at making a very tiny drone with a tiny lock-on range. I must admit that it's actually a very shitty craft. But again, due to time constraints, I didn't really have any possibilities to tweak it or make it better. Besides, also really annoying craft to make because of its post-missile stress disorder, or well, post-missile firing disorder, as I refer to it in my video, which I made about it, which features this aircraft, while the Night Fighter has taken some fire there from the Pegasus D10N probe, which is actually a boat, not a probe. What is gone then? I can't really see what's gone. It's literally just one yaw surface here, which I can see that has been sniped off. Apart from that, I can't see anything that has been sniped off. Perhaps that foils the aerodynamic stability of the Night Fighter and makes it crash. Because as you've seen in this video, Night Fighter doesn't really have aerodynamic stability as an advantage for itself. If this battle goes on for long enough, by the way, I will just make this a one battle episode, because, well, I assume that you don't want episodes in excess of an hour. Those are very hard to watch in one sitting. And I prefer to watch them in one sitting, so yeah, I don't know how you think about it, but I'd rather than just cut it after the first match. More gunfire from the Pegasus D10N probe. It has not hit anything on the Night Fighter. Really should include some type of missile launchers for the boats next season. Night Fighter turns again. Missiles, by the way, make this thing in this entire thing a lot easier and a lot quicker. Because believe me, this doesn't display any mercy for the Night Fighter. Anyway, Night Fighter coming back then on the Pegasus D10N. 82 units of that liquid fuel remaining. All of its ammo yet in its guns, because I didn't enable it to fire on ground targets. Boopsie boopsie. Then fire coming in from looks like a single turret of the Pegasus D10N. It has not been able to gun anything off that Night Fighter this time either. Most then. Maybe we should just speed some of this up. The the Pegasus D10N probe ran out of ammo without dealing any further damage to the SSI 9 Fighter Mark II C4. So what remains here is speeding it up again and seeing if the 9 Fighter Mark II C4 survives landing in the sea. Because if it does, it's a victory for the 9 Fighter. If it doesn't, it's a tie. So let's go back to speeding up again. And there we have it. Due to the simple amount of wings on such a light aircraft when depleted of fuel, the 9 Fighter survives its landing and makes it 1-0 for Team 9 Fighter. Bet I'll be very happy with that despite this, bad aircraft. Next round then. Let's hope it won't drag on for as long as that one did. Oh boy, that was horrible. This stopwatch that I used to see how long the rounds took, it says 30 minutes, and I paused it halfway through the bit that we are time-lapsing, or speeding up, however you want to call it. 30 minutes, and that wasn't even all of it. For an unsped up round between the 9 Fighter and the Pegasus D10N. If you ask me, that's quite a long round. And if you ask me, that is enough reason for me to say that this will be a one-match episode. At least for me to predict this will be a one-match episode. So let's get everything deployed again. And the radar switched on. And let's fly on board with the Pegasus D10 this time for its perspective of this battle. Wow! Did it legitimately just want to thrust itself into its own ship there right before taking off? That was very risky. That was very risky. I don't know what kind of extra performance you can get out of that, so I have no idea why I did that. What I do have an idea of, though, is that they're flying away from each other, and they are flying away from each other very, very quickly. Just as I was talking in a very quick manner there. Well then, time to start the competition. Oh my god, I switched the guard mode off on the 9 fighter again, didn't I? And yeah, time for battle where each aircraft will engage each other at roughly 4 kilometers with 8 9s. That was actually already a countermeasure fire there. And I believe the 9 fighter has now indeed launched 8 9s. Wow, that was very close. And it's freaking out. The Pegasus is freaking out, can confirm. But none of the 8 9s fired have hit. None of them. Absolutely none of them. And the Pegasus here is going right for the square float. And the square float is right on it, as it will be trying to gun down that Hellfire, which it did. A missile is fired, some gunfire. Oh my god, it's absolute chaos. And the Pegasus D10 has been struck by gunfire from the square float. Oh my god, what chaos that was. The 9 fighter is taking fire from the Pegasus D10N also. It's all kicking off now. Oh jeez. The 9 fighter once again dumping its Hellfires where they shouldn't be, and the Pegasus D10N releasing an absolute barrage on the square float. Now heading for the 9 fighter. I have no doubt the square float can't hold back that much ordnance. As the 9 fighter has been struck a little bit there, let's switch back to the square float, which has indeed been struck by ordnance. Too bad for that square float. Ooh, the 9 fighter is spinning. What's the damage? Did it take out one of its engines? Yeah, took out one of its engines. The square float has been missilized. And Pegasus D10N has made quick work of the 9 fighter entry, making it 1-1. Yeah, that doesn't look very healthy now, does it? One entire engine pod struck out, wing gone, the center mount, the center tailpiece gone, all the engines gone. Yeah. Doesn't look to be in fighting shape, this 9 fighter. Too bad for it then. It's a 1-1 for the Pegasus. And as I called, the Pegasus has quite the easy time if it doesn't get struck by any AIM-9s. What can I say? I am either a Jinx Master, or I have completely called that one, making me the ultimate predictor of battles. All I will say though is that Hojoz was right. If you get that reference, nice. Nice, feels nice, man. Yeah, waiting for the craft to load in, then again PRE doing its job. And separating the Pegasus D10 and the 9 fighter. Going back to the square float, enabling that radar. And then going to the D10N probe, enabling that radar. Going to the 9 fighter, and enabling the battle. I really do love how the 9 fighter takes off. It kind of just forces the boat to go off at an angle when it fires the boosters. It kind of forces the boat back. The back goes into the water, and then of course helps it with its takeoff angle. I'm really satisfied with how that turned out. Anything else about this 9 fighter though, it's absolute shit. Let's be honest. it's not what you would like for a competitive entry. But it wasn't meant as a competitive entry, it was meant as a meme entry. And that's the entire explanation of the 9th fighter gone, and another competition that's starting. Let's see how the 9th fighter will be able to deploy those A9s and how the Pegasus D10N will be able to dodge them and fire 9s back. Of course, it's all kicking off now already at 5 kilometers with the 2 A9s fired by the 9th fighter, and already the 9th fighter is immediately on the measure of trying to take out the Pegasus, and once again the Pegasus craft has been struck by something. I don't know if it was an A9 or not. Looks like the Hellfire just quite didn't strike. Let's see what the damage is on the Pegasus D10N. It doesn't look to be much. Still has Hellfire, so it's good. Yeah, it's good. Doesn't have anything worth noting. Hellfire's turning back and going towards Pegasus D10N. Although that's too much for spread for Hellfires, so I don't think they'll be doing any damage to the Pegasus D10N. I was wrong. Oh, that's a hit. And the second Hellfire coming in, that's another hit. Let's see how the square float does with those 2 Hellfires. It also gets hit. Pegasus then barely doesn't get hit by a 9th fighter gunfire, but those 2 boats are out of it. Now they are in the square float, is still firing on the Pegasus D10N. There is some fierce competition going on for that Pegasus meat, that Pegasus spot. Oh boy, how I did not expect that. This is a jittering mess, but it still has guns, so it's counted as alive. This, well, that fared quite well actually. Very nice. Guns firing towards the Pegasus D10. They are guns firing towards the Pegasus D10, and it's on the back of the 9th fighter though. The 9th fighter arguably has done enough damage. But, I mean, the Pegasus, come on, it is going to fire those guns straight into the back of the 9th fighter. Oh, yes, it will. And will they hit? But will they hit is the crucial question. It doesn't look like it quite yet. But undoubtedly, the Pegasus D10N will go for another run, and another run it does. It's looking slightly twisty there. And slightly out of control there. Oh, that's because that was more damage than I thought. It actually lost one of its big ass wing strokes, which are quite crucial to its aerodynamic stability, I must assume, because this is horrible. This is quite horrible. Spinning out of control. Will it be able to turn away from the sea? Well, the 9th fighter will barely be able to turn away from the sea, as the D10N will look to once again trying to do damage, and it looks like those guns are splayed a little bit, and it's another instability moment for that D10N. Heading for the sea fast, recovers at 200 meters. Youchie wouchie. That's not good. That's clearly not good. Heading for the sky once again is the Pegasus D10N, once again trying to come and take out the 9th fighter. However, with the damage suffered, perhaps it won't fare as well as we hoped. A9 strikes then, horribly close A9 strikes, doing damage to the Pegasus D10N that it did not expect clearly. And that me as a commentator did not expect either. Both craft, by the way, have run out of Hellfire, so yeah, they will have to face the boats once they. Oh, that's actually the. Oh no! Oh no! It appears as though the 9th fighter has committed itself to a watery grave. just as I was going on about the fact that if the Pegasus D10 or the Night Fighter would have won, they would have had to do it on guns, on the opponent's aircraft carrier. At which I will call it based on the damage done to its fighting compartments. Engage range max 600 meters. Doesn't bode well for the Pegasus D10, and especially if the square float can be a little bit accurate with the gunfire on those turrets. It also has 20 liquid fuel remaining. D10N not in a very good state. Oh boy! Aim 9s. This just shows why limited aim 9s and missiles in general, they can be quite OP. Square float has no interest in engaging. Odd. Very odd. Square floats. It has interest now, and it has struck. It has struck again. Oh boy. That is a Pegasus D10N that only has 2 engines left. Slowly but surely, the Pegasus D10N has been devoured in this battle. Oh. Oh. Oh boy. Oh boy. I can't say anything else, but oh boy. I did not expect this. The 9 fighter simply shouldn't be able to win from the Pegasus D10N, but apparently the Pegasus D10N is not very resistant against missiles. And is not very good at dodging them either. Square float. Will it do anything this time? Surely it will. Come on, boy. Yeah, there it goes. Again, another hit, and those are the engines gone, and the intake's gone. And there's, oh boy, there, it's all the yaw control gone, and even more wing surface. And it's still firing. Ah, yet more damage. Ah, it's the SAS disengaged. And the D10N is in quite a predicament. Ooh. Ah. Oh, that doesn't look good at all. Ah. It can't turn back on the square float. Doesn't have any components weighing it down either, apart from that ammo. That is loss. Oh, it turned around. It has capsized, and there's 2 guns remaining and no radar. Square float, meanwhile, 4 guns and a radar. Square float's the winner. Yeah. 9 fighters the winner. I mean, you could say that I'm biased, and I saw the fact that the square float had more guns, which I did. And you could argue that I based the non-tiebreaker mechanic on that, but I mean, arguably, the more fighting things it has, the better chance of survival it has in a coming battle. And thus, yeah, the capsized D10N probe, which if it has capsized, it should be sinking. May I also bring that up? Only has 2 guns left. It's on its side. It can't really aim them well now. Now it doesn't have a radar anymore. Yeah, it's kinda over. And it's over for the Pegasus D10N as well, which has now made a soft landing into the ocean. Final round then. And I swear this video is going to be 25 minutes for one round. The next round, I believe, is the Charmander versus the Namiari. Namiari. I can make it a 45, 50-minute episode. I could. Yeah. Yeah, it's nearly at the 30 minutes already, so I'm not going to do a second match. Well then, it is 2-1 for the surprise 9 fighter, which is winning on 8-9s. Which is exactly the reason why I tried to nerf 8-9s, which apparently it hasn't helped. Last round we were on board with the 9 fighter, so this time we will be on board with the Pegasus D10N. Seeing it possibly fail for the last time in this 4th round of this match. Well then, let's get possibly the decider going. 30-minute mark on my stopwatch, which I referred to earlier in this episode. D10N takes off. We'll surely be hoping that it does not take any damage. And honestly, I'm also hoping that it doesn't take any damage, because one, it makes the episode longer and thus makes my decision to not go for a second match justified. It also means that it beats an arguably very inferior fighter. Yeah, it's an arguably inferior fighter. It's not an inferior boat, but it's an inferior fighter. Thus it should be eliminated. So there are my views, still supporting the Pegasus D10N, as, well, it is an ASC entry, and I can't have it that one of my worst aircraft is beating an ASC entry. I can't get over that. I simply can't accept that. The 9 fighter having now fired its 8-9s. Possibly, yeah, there go the countermeasures. Oh, it has hit. And there goes the instability again. That's an aim 9 on aim 9 hit. Looks to be largely intact. It lost some engines and thus it lost the center of mass, center of lift stability, and it is stalling. The 9 fighter has been decimated by the it has been decimated by the Pegasus D10N probe, and the square float's fine, and the D10N probe's fine, and the 9 fighter isn't, and the Pegasus D10N is flying somehow. Oh boy, again escalated very quickly. That will not be recovering. I cannot see that recovering. I can't see this recovering either. And none of the boats took damage. It's a defeat for the fighter, for the 9 fighter. If it can't pull out, of course. If it can pull out, it's not a defeat. But if it can't pull out, it's a defeat. And it has done a Hellfire, and if that can strike, then the square float and the 9 fighter will have lost. Simply because of the fact that there has been more damage done to the square float than it has the Pegasus D10N probe. But unfortunately for the Pegasus cause, didn't strike, was taken out in time. Meanwhile, it is actually the 9 fighter higher than the D10N that is struggling. The A9 having done its job perfectly there, exploding at exactly the heat source. Pegasus and then completely annihilated here. 9 fighter still tumbling. Slowly tumbling towards the ground. Very, very slowly tumbling towards the ground. And the D10N is given up. Firing on the square float. The 9 fighter, I'm sorry. Yeah, it has given up. Perhaps because it has recognized that that 9 fighter won't be a threat to its inevitable demise. Because, again, square float doesn't have any damage. The 10N probe doesn't have any damage. The 10N had to deal damage against the square float this round. It couldn't. And that sealed the fate of this ASC entry. Because especially if this 9 fighter manages to land, which with its important bits for flying rather intact, which it does look to be able to do. It is, well, the D10N that's crashed and died. The 9 fighter that crashed and hasn't died, and thus the 9 fighter team is taking less damage, and thus the 9 fighter team wins. And as I said, if the square float would have taken damage, perhaps I could have got it a tie. And as I predicted, it's the 9 fighter gracefully landing. Gracefully landing to a surprise victory. It's winning again based on the fact that the team has more of its assets still alive. And more plain alive here as compared to Pegasus D10N, which is, well, a probe core, weapon manager, an AI pilot, and 2 guns, 3 guns. And slowly dwindling electric charge. And the 9 fighter, I mean, you could say that it could be recovered and at least scrapped or looted for parts. 9 fighter wins. And the fact that I still haven't concluded this episode means that I'm quite frankly surprised. I'm surprised and in complete disagreement with RNGesus. The Pegasus D10N is the superior aircraft. But it did not have the it did not have the awareness of an AIM-9 threat. Didn't launch its countermeasures and got struck pretty much every time. When it didn't get struck by an AIM-9, it won. As I said, superior aircraft, but inferior dodging abilities. Or rather, inferior ability of the pilot to recognize that the AIM-9 was a real threat. Perhaps the D10N got overconfident. Well then, with the underdog battling battling one of the favorites for the title and winning, it is the end of this episode. Hope you enjoyed. And here's to be a critic with Boys Pop.